highlights from that. I'm trying to get Fear on the line here for anyone who's wondering why I'm talking to myself, but he's not picking up yet. So while we wait for Fear, let's talk a little bit about Group B. Group B has 4 teams, 2 of them very established. Invictus Gaming and MUFC, especially IG. IG have been here before. They have won a lot of big Chinese tournaments. Last seen, not doing well in the G1 League, though. That was their last Dota 2 tournament in China. You could count WCG, I suppose. But really, if you... Hey, oh, hey, he picked up. Awesome. So, hey, Fear, how you doing?
Hi, I'm back.
So they're replaying the highlights from yesterday. Did you get some rest, by the way?
Yeah, I got plenty of rest. I just passed out for majority of the afternoon. Stayed up late.
You're on the Asian sleep schedule too, then, I see.
Yeah.
You know you're a Dota fan when. So Group B, so I don't know if, I assume at this point you've caught up with the results of Group A. Team DK got knocked out yesterday. They don't advance. They were tied 1-2 as far as overall record goes, but they had 1 less map win than For Love. So LGD and China, with their backs up against that wall in that game, deciding game 3, they took it easily, and, well, DK picked Spectre, and it was against a Luna Enigma, very aggressive pushing lineup. Just got shut down in the laning phase. Spectre never got any farm. That was all she wrote for DK. It was a sad way for them to go out. But now we move on to Group B. LGD International securing a guaranteed top 4 berth. The other 2 teams, LGD China and For Love, are going to be waiting in that round of 6, the first round of the playoffs. But Group B, IG, Invictus Gaming, as they're also known, MUFC, and then 2 sort of more up-and-coming teams. We're looking at Vici Gaming and TongFu. TongFu they've been around for a while, but they have yet to really make their mark in Dota 2. They did pretty well at TI2, but not quite up to snuff compared to some of the other Chinese teams as far as results go.
Yeah, they have a lot of experienced players, though. So once they start practicing more Dota 2, I expect them to get much better results.
I'm actually curious. Have you read or seen anything on Vici Gaming?
No, I haven't. I know nothing about them at all.
It's the one thing that I think most people have probably heard at this point is that they're a team full of pub stars. Like, these are just players who are really good pub. Yeah, that's basically... I think they have one... who is it? I think they're solo mids. They have a player, CTY, who... I think that's his nick anyway, who actually beat Ferrari in a 1v1 mid tournament. There are a couple of other really strong mids invited there. Granted, it's a 1v1 tournament. That doesn't necessarily translate into 5v5 games. Dota is, of course, a team game. But they have the individual skills. The question is going to be, can they translate that into some good teamwork? And especially because they're not all friends or anything. They were each invited individually by the organization. So this Group B, as we start to really unpack it a little bit, it's got some interesting storylines.
Yeah, it'll be, if nothing else, it'll just so get some experience for those newer players, and maybe some top teams will scout them out.
You know, the thing is, they have one thing they really have going for them is great PR. Like, they have like glamour shots of the team basically. And someone said boy band. Oh god, there was such a good post on Reddit. It was I forget what it was, but basically, yeah, they do kind of look like a boy band to a certain extent, like a K-pop group or something. No, of course, does that. So they've got the marketing going for them. Can they translate? Can they bring it onto the field though? That's the real question.
Yeah.
But that's getting ahead of ourselves as far as, so that's sort of a big overall picture look at Group B, but specifically this matchup, MUFC versus TongFu. TongFu hasn't had the best results in Dota 2, especially since the International. They really struggled when the new patches came out. Sort of what we saw out of LGD, but LGD, they struggled for their first match or 2. Then they adapted very quickly, and by the time G1 League ended, they actually took it. TongFu took longer to adapt. Then they, in Dota 1 even, they actually did well. In Dota 1, they beat LGD, and granted that was the old patch. That was 6.74B at the WCG Dota 1 Grand Finals, but they still took down LGD, and that tells you a lot about the potential of the team, if not how they'll do in Dota 2.
Yeah, the way I see TongFu right now is they all have, they know how to, they're all really experienced. They know how the game flow goes. They know how to pick strategies and how to play the game. But the one thing that they've been lacking is they've been making a lot of like judgment mistakes. Like they make a lot of ton of individual mistakes, I have to say, like getting picked off in wrong places, which has really hurt them in most all the games I've seen. Yep. So if they can keep that to a minimum, I think they're going to be fine. They have the skill and they know all the strats all the other Chinese teams do. They can be on the top. They just need to like not make these silly mistakes in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to leadership for the team. I'm not sure how they're making decisions or who's making calls, but it does seem like they're not always making, the right individual decisions and getting picked off. So maybe it's something where, if someone's saying, hey, let's do this, let's not be there right now, then they avoid those kinds of mistakes, or anticipating their opponent's movements, things like that. But on the other side of the field, we have MUFC. MUFC, a team who actually was invited to the International 2 and then was unable to attend. They had some I mean, that's got to be very depressing for them, but they've had some roster changes since then. We saw two of their players replaced, and they brought on Ken as well as Ohaiyo. Ken has since left the team, but Ohaiyo has remained, and Ohaiyo has been a real story in Southeast Asia. Very impressive tinker play. He's even run solo mid Twin-Headed Dragon. He was dominating a lot of teams at the GEST Dota 2 Challenge. He's performed pretty well on LAN at the Asia. He's an up-and-coming player. He's a big story for this team, and I feel he's going to have a big impact for them to compete. Standing in for the team in place of what the spot that Ken was filling previously is actually going to be xfreedom, who we last saw playing support for Zenith.
Huh. All right. I didn't know that.
And for xfreedom, on this team, he hasn't actually been playing support. We've seen him sometimes as a tri-lane farmer, and one game I even saw him playing. Actually, they ran an offensive tri-lane tinker, and they were stacking ancients, and they had one of the tri-lane supports go and stack ancients, and xfreedom was farming them. But we could see him in more of an aggressive, more of a 2 or 3 position with this team.
Yeah, he's definitely a very versatile player, so he can play pretty much any role, I do believe, for the team.
So that's pretty much the matchup we're looking at. MUFC, I would say, have the better results as of late, by a small margin anyway, but that's also just, we haven't seen TongFu outside of G1 League in quite some time in Dota 2, at least not in major official competitions, so they might have that edge. There's less tape on them, so to speak, coming into this matchup. Yeah,
the last time I saw TongFu was actually WCG, but that was Dota 1. They won that though, so
they beat LGD, and they did it on LAN too, and that says something.
They still have the talent and whatnot in Dota. Just Dota 1 and Dota 2 are different games.
Yeah, and it was also a different version too. So it's not even just the mechanical differences and some of the things that just work differently between Warcraft 3 Dota and Dota 2, but it's also a different patch. And I gotta say, the old patch 6.74b, that was a patch that TongFu was much more comfortable with. They prefer a very defensive style, sort of like LGD, except they don't really seem to have a player like Xiao8 or a player like Yao who can sort of control the map as well. And that's something I think they're going to need to find in this tournament if they look to beat teams like IG and advance.
It seems like what they prefer to do is, instead of having someone controlling the map like Xiao8, they have Mu and Hao both farming. And they just do a lot of farming on that team. They like their double carries. At least in the International 2, they like doing that a lot.
I mean, that's a good, but then that begs the question, is that viable in this patch?
It's a lot harder for sure. So yeah, it's definitely a lot harder because there's a lot of teams are playing much more aggressive, and getting away with a double carry strategy is much harder to do.
It's almost the same. I wonder if we've seen Orange Esports really struggle as of late, and that's something that I would not say they pioneered in the Asian scene. Was Yamate often playing that safe lane farming Lashrak, Mushi as the strong carry, like the Morphling solo mid when he could get away with it, and they've struggled too to some extent since the changes to the patch. They brought in Ice 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 to try and shore up their offlane, give them someone who could make an impact as a solo. But the days of the dual carry, they may at least be on the decline for now. So that's an interesting storyline to see coming to this match.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they've transitioned a little bit. A lot comes down to practice. Have they been practicing Dota 2? No one really knows, I guess.
We gotta figure they have. This is G League. There's a lot of money on the line in this tournament. As far as tournaments outside, and not only that, but it's also very important to the sponsors because it's a Chinese tournament shown on national television, and TongFu, this is their audience. This is where they're looking to market their products to. So having a good showing by the team, it goes a long way. I mean, these are players who, they have their pictures on the products. Like, it's pretty much a real sport there. And it's, in some ways, I wouldn't say more important than the International 2, but it's got, from a marketing standpoint, it's up there as far as importance goes. So it's a tournament that they really are going to be expected to do well in, and if they don't, their team's going to be very disappointed. Yeah,
definitely. I just when it comes to TongFu, I don't know about them too much in Dota 2. They just haven't played too much Dota 2. So I just hope they've been playing a lot more, and I just want to see some good games.
Yeah, I think we all want to see some good games. These were some good games, by the way. If you want to watch one game from the ldDK series, we were talking over game 2, but it was pretty epic, I gotta say. Burning played a Phantom Lancer, and let's just say it was a long game. So that one was entertaining. For anyone who missed it on the live stream, you should check it out as well. But yeah, we had good games yesterday. I hope we're gonna have a lot of good games in Group B. Group B is more of an enigma, though. It's a group where I don't really know what to expect, and I don't think anybody does. Sure, Vici Gaming, they qualified for the tournament. They've got the question with them is, can they convert it into wins against top-tier teams? With MUFC, the question is, they're not on their home turf. They are, I want to say, unless you count LGD International, they're the only non-Chinese team participate at this event, so they're not on their home turf. They're going to be, to some extent, in enemy territory. Sure, it's a broadcast studio, but they're not going back to their houses. They're not necessarily in their comfort zone. Can they adapt to that somewhat hostile environment? That's going to be a question for them as well.
And it's not really a hostile environment.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
I was actually in the same studio this time last year.
Apparently there's a new password and a new lobby, so let me set it to you right now.
Like, they're playing at this some studio. I was actually there with Pycat and Misery for last G League, and it was a lot of fun.
So let me ask you this. How was it being there? Did you feel overwhelmed not speaking the language, or did they do a good job of accommodating you?
They did
talk
really
more
good
about
job.
your experience.
They did a great job accommodating us, and all the other Chinese. They're really, really nice to foreigners. Most Chinese are, at least in the Dota world. So when we were over there, all the teams made us feel, comfortable. The studio, they accommodated us any way we needed. Sosa did a great job with that, and it was just a great experience. So it was a lot of fun. So I guess there's no crowd there at all whatsoever. So you don't have to worry about crowds booing at you or anything. So you're just kind of like team versus team. In a separate room, you're just head to head. No crowd to say, "Oh, China!" every time they get a kill, like the international stuff like that.
Yeah, that was actually a true hostile environment for the Chinese teams, especially when playing Navi.
Yeah, exactly. So, as far as that goes, you don't have any crowds against you and whatnot. So it makes it a lot easier being a foreigner.
We'll see, though, because if any of these, if we have MUFC making it to the grand finals, somehow, if they do, which they have to be considered a long shot, at least at this point. But if they made it there, then they're in a stadium in Shanghai. And then you can say, if not hostile, that it's going to be, the crowd's going to have their favorites. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be MUFC.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to that stage, if it is a Chinese versus Chinese or a Chinese versus a foreign team showdown, the Chinese team will definitely have an advantage there.
All right, so we have gotten a little bit of context for the group. We've seen the standings, which there aren't any games played yet for Group B, but we've seen the list of teams competing. If you just had to take a guess at how this group's going to shake out, not knowing much about VG or Vici Gaming, not knowing if TongFu's been playing Dota 2, what's your prediction for this group? Who do you think's going to be knocked out, and who do you think's going to finish first?
I think I'm going to have to go with first place, obvious IG, and then I do believe second place is going to go for MUFC's way, followed by TongFu. Then I have to say the Pubstar team doesn't have, it's not looking good for them.
Pubstar's no good.
I mean, it's good having individual skill, but when it comes to competitive play, individual skill doesn't mean anything when a team has really good teamwork and strategies that they've been practicing for time and time again. You can shut down Pubstars super easily. Speaking of
team fight and skill level, the top left corner, they do give a slight edge there to TongFu. One more point. Map awareness, top middle. Top right is ban and pick. Bottom right is LAN experience. Execution is the bottom middle, and then bottom left is individual skill level. We could see both of these teams not getting slightly lower rankings. We're seeing more 7s from. It is a bit of a weaker group, I think, in most people's eyes compared to Group A.
Yeah, everyone's screaming Group A, group of death. Probably.
We'll see. Any group with IG is going to be a painful group for their opposition, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, IG started off like right after International super strong, but there has been some chinks in their armor since then. So
Yeah, we'll see. They have shown those, moments of weakness especially at the G1 LAN finals, and not only did they lose there, but the team dynamic it seemed like they were yelling at not yelling at each other, but they were very exasperated in their post game. There was actually a translated post game interview we had with IG after their game 1 loss to LGD going into game 2, and we could see the up and coming carry player for Ohio, the solo mid. They actually list Gyrocopter as one of his signature heroes. We don't have the Tinker on there. I think it should be, but he's even run Twin-Headed Dragon solo mid against TA, and actually it worked. But I would say that came down to an outskilling the opposition and some backup as opposed to his own play necessarily. Now Net, the support player, being introduced. MUFC looking pretty comfortable.
yeah, Net's a old school support player. I remember playing against him quite a bit in Dota 1. He was always really, really good.
Did you walk both ways uphill 6 miles on the snow to school together?
Yeah, guess so. And then xfreedom coming here. He's got the Tinker, actually.
And they're listing the Axe as one of his signature heroes. I don't know if we'll see that, but hey, it is a pressure hero, and that's something that I think that's the one question is, can TongFu deal with early aggression and pressure in this series? Because MUFC, they often go for the early Enchantress pickup. You see that it was one of Ling's signature heroes here. They go for sometimes aggressive tri-lanes. Even when, as far as their solos go, they'll pick, early burst damage hero killers, and if TongFu are playing defensively, can they deal with that pressure?
Yeah, this game reminds me a lot of like how the LG Int and For Love series will turn out. Like LG Int gonna be MUFC in this position. Like, can TongFu deal with aggressive play? Because MUFC likes to play super aggressive, just like LG Int.
I gotta say, How needs a haircut.
How's just How.
But he's got the glasses still. That hasn't changed.
Yeah,
those glasses, like, if he ever wins an international or something, he could probably sell those things for a hell of a lot of money because they are pretty unique.
Yeah, he always wears those. He used to have hair a lot longer. Everyone mistook him for a girl, so I guess that's why he cut it a little bit.
And now we see sansheng, who was playing. He was actually playing off lane for TongFu at the International 2 East qualifiers. This goes way back, but he's transitioned more into that support role as of late. Mm-hmm. And that's because they've made some roster changes. ldDOTA has joined the team, last seen with DK before this.
And who else joined TongFu again? It was ldDOTA and wasn't it one other?
Yeah, it's they're introducing now. It starts with W. No, sorry, that's Mu.
Yeah, Mu was on there. How?
Oh no, it's a player who used to play for World Elite, but it's Veronica.
Oh, Veronica. Okay, yes, they added ldDOTA and Veronica.
Yeah, formerly known as Chan.
Chan.
Chan. CHAN.
Oh, Chan.
I don't think anyone's confusing Veronica with Chuan. Chuan is very unique.
He is.
They broke the mold with that one.
All right. So, did they say for xfreedom what role he plays on Orange?
Well, it's not. We're on MUFC. I'm not sure because he's been playing. They've been all over the place, but it seems like if he's a 3 position, when they have a tri-lane, it's usually an offensive tri-lane. He's the one farming there. We've seen him on Tinker, but it's not like a normal Tinker where he's either mid or safe lane. It's been in that weird off lane where the support's stacking the ancients on the dire side. So I'm not 100% sure, but
they're showing it now. Looks like
generally it's Ohaiyo in the 2 position. Sharky's been playing, I want to say the 1. They're saying xfreedom's a solo, but again, MUFC they don't really run. They're very versatile with their laning. So how this actually shakes out in the game, it will depend from draft to draft.
Okay, we shall see then. Because I watched a little bit of MUFC. I think at G1 I was watching them a little bit, but I haven't seen anything outside of that. I don't think, as far as MUFC goes.
Yeah, they've actually been. I have to say, I think they're a bit underrated coming into this event. Like, a lot of people are going to. I even saw some people saying that TongFu is going to easily finish second, and that you know, they can't play, the MUFC can't take down the Chinese teams. I think it's going to be tough. I think this is a matchup that if MUFC come out with an aggressive early game and TongFu aren't prepared for their picks, for their laning, MUFC could quickly jump out to a 1-0 lead in this series. And don't underestimate Ohaiyo. If he has a decent start, this guy is scary and he's very versatile. So for me, MUFC, they have a very decent shot at advancing out of this group as second place. It really depends on this game though, because when you play IG, especially on LAN at the G League, I don't want to say it's an automatic loss, but it's quite likely you'll lose to them. And then your other two matches, that magnifies the importance of them.
Yeah, the thing about IG is what makes them so strong, in my opinion, is they're really versatile when it comes to play styles. They can play the farming game with you, so you can just play that farmer, just, you know, go super late game. They can play a super aggressive, like, Navi style type of game as well against you. You know, they were the first ones to kind of start using this, like, bounty hunter night stalker full out gank in, like, the China scene. Even when, against teams like ldD, who had very disciplined, you know, play style, just playing super, you know, passive and defensively and having the right heroes in the right spot, and they actually pulled it off. So they're just very versatile when it comes to play styles, which makes IG so strong.
Yeah, and you mentioned the, you know, the very aggressive ganking lineups with multiple melee carries, tower divers. They actually took a step back from that in, what was it, in the WCG China in the Dota 2 finals, where they were showing a more balanced style. And that scares me even more, because the one thing at G1 League is they kept on trying to force those lineups. Like, it seemed like they hadn't practiced anything else, or they just didn't feel comfortable playing anything else. And they showed at WCG China, like you said, that they're a versatile team. They went back to some more balanced strategies. They put, you know, Ferrari on a hero that scales into the mid game a little bit better, even if he can't get kills early, like the Templar Assassin, not always giving them the Night Stalker. And that makes IG easily the most complete game in this group, if not in the tournament. So with all that being said, enough about IG. It's time for TongFu versus MUFC. The draft underway very early thus far. We do see a quick Undying ban, and MUFC are going to have that first pick.
Yeah, I do expect TongFu to go for the anti-mage, I must say.
Yeah, we'll see. As for
I've had a lot of success so far in this tournament, and I know Hao loves to play it.
Yeah, it definitely fits Hao. It fits TongFu as well, because they're a pretty passive team for the most part. With MUFC, they were the first team that I really saw using the Nyx Assassin a lot in the Asian seed, in the GST Challenge, and actually after that, it's when we saw most of the Chinese teams use it. So they may have been using it before, but those were the first official matches where I really saw it get a lot of play. It was in the pool, they gave it away repeatedly to MUFC, and MUFC was punishing them heavily with the Nyx Assassin, and no surprise, we see it get banned out here first. Probably would be banned out first against anyone, but definitely against MUFC.
Yeah, definitely. They did their homework. They see MUFC. That's one of their favorite supports. They'll give it, every time you give the option for them to take it, they'll take it. From all the games I've seen, they just love that hero as a support, because, you know, it is one of the strongest supports right now, so why not?
Yeah, will we see, if it ever gets through, will we see the banana Nyx, or will we see an actual ganking Nyx? It remains to be seen.
The banana Nyx, yeah. The walking observer ward Nyx. Clever guy.
Yeah, hey, it worked. Can't argue with results.
Nope.
And that anti-mage, it does get the ban here. Do you think that's a bit of a fluke, the 100% anti-mage win rate, or do you think he's actually that strong right now?
It's definitely not a fluke, but I think teams are forgetting how to play against anti-mage. Like, the way you can play against anti-mage in most games is apply a lot of pressure or push early, and it seems like maybe because it's a LAN environment, teams want to play it more safe. They're just going carry versus carry against anti-mage, or playing just a more passive play style, and it's not really working out. It's going into anti-mage's home field. That's what he loves to play. So yeah, I definitely don't think anti-mage is still that powerful, but it's still really good, especially in LAN events when you're playing more cautious.
Yeah, and like you said, that it really does, it affects how the teams play, being at a LAN event, and also being at an event like this where the playoffs are single elimination, and then to get there, you have to make sure you don't finish last in your group. And then on top of that, you really want to finish first, because only first place in this tournament really gets a lot of money. It's 30,000 for first place, 8,000 for second, and 3,000 for third. The rest get nothing. Those are approximate dollar values, but yeah, so you don't, it's not really enough to even make it in the playoffs. You got to finish very high in this tournament to really make it count.
That is a very top-heavy prize first there.
I almost want to say too much, but the one thing that ensures that these teams will not be, they will be pulling out all the stops come playoff time.
It's like TI prize pool.
But the TI prize pool is so big across the board that even the bad placements, yes, they're way smaller than first place, but they're still pretty good.
But anyways, moving on to the draft, we had a Darkseer first pick, which is going to be followed up by a Lone Druid for TongFu. So I guess that's going to be, I think How's going to play that. I'm assuming so.
And then they follow up with the Magnus. This should go to Veronica. Well, normally it would. It's one of his signature heroes. He's playing a lot in the off lane, but I don't know if he can get away with that against MUFC with the nerfs to Skewer. We'll see how they pick. We'll see what they look to do, but for TongFu, are you looking to just get that 1v1 matchup with the Lone Druid versus Darkseer?
Usually when you say Darkseer in the pool and you know the team is going to put it on offlane 100%, yeah, Lone Druid's just a great hero versus Darkseer. You know, the bear soaks up a lot of Ion Shell damage. You can kill the creeps Ion Shell super easily. Just a free farm lane for him.
And then once he gets entangled, Surge is not guaranteed to save you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for MUFC, they go with the Tinker and they go with it early. They already see the group up and push potential with the Magnus Lone Druid. And the question now is, who's going to be playing this Tinker? Will it be xfreedom? Will it be Ohaiyo? It could go either way, and that's going to affect mostly where the hero is laying to this game.
The Tinker, it's a good way to stop pushes. It really is, but the one problem that they do have right now, they're going to need some lockdown for this bear, because if they just use the bear to siege, the Marching Machine doesn't do too much against that, because they're going to have that empower on top of the bear, and then if they just sit back and let the bear siege buildings, like, the Marching Machines isn't going to help there. They're going to need another hero that can, like, stun the bear, lock it down, so they can't hit on the buildings.
They do have blind, but then you got to get in pretty close, and it gets a little bit dangerous. And like you said, they want more lockdown. There's a little bit more. They get the Rubik, and also can throw that bear up on the cliff, so that could be something that comes into play, depending on how the laning goes, if the bear just happens to run into the Rubik near the hills, and let's see. But they get the Rubik. That's going to give them more anti-push if you steal Shockwave, which is relatively easy to steal.
Yeah, but TongFu's lineup right now, it's pretty cheesy if they do it right. Like, if you just put the bear up there, you start attacking on the buildings, and you can't really initiate on them because they have the Magnus just sitting back there waiting to RP if you ever get opposition and try to go on them. And now they have the Shadow Demon, another defensive hero.
And even if they get that initiator and he jumps in, Shadow Demon can be there to save them and stall it out. And who would that initiator be? The one, when you get the Tinker, he does require a little bit of protection in the laning stage if TongFu want to look to punish that. Shadow Demon could be setting up some roaming ganks. Magnus, if he's in the off lane, well, I'm not sure, actually. I think he might be their solo mid. And that would be maybe a different player. That might be going to Mu then. I'm interested to see how they lane this, because it has been Veronica's hero, but I don't know that he's going to have a good lane this game if he goes to the off lane.
Yeah, I'd like to see Magnus mid. I usually like to see Magnus mid, so especially when you have this lineup, you need to get your levels up so you can, with the new skewer change, you need to get that maxed out as soon as possible so you get the full range on it. And then you also need to get them power up as soon as possible to help the Lone Druid out with assaulting the base. The one thing that MUFC can do right now that's really in their favor is they can win the early game pretty easily if they want to. If they get early bots up and apply a lot of pressure and then disrupt the sieging, then they're going to be in pretty good shape here.
Yeah, TongFu to group up, they are going to need a decent amount of levels and items, and if they put the mag is most likely going to be the mech buyer, I want to say, at least so far. It looks like if they want to group up and push early, but that will delay the blink if he goes for it. But let's see how they finish the draft. We see Panda getting banned out, just reinforcing that idea that they're concerned about the group up here, and they want to make sure that they're not getting overwhelmed. They're not being driven off the towers. One of the natural counters to Tinker is the Night Stalker. He gets the ban here.
Yeah, they just don't want what Night Stalker and Panda both do is they have, like, well, they're kind of similar in roles of heroes, and team fights are super tanky, hard to kill, and they can create mid-game, space mid-game, create a lot of space mid-game, and if there's a lot of space created mid-game for TongFu, they're going to get their levels that they need, they're going to get their items, and then they'll be able to group up, and that's when they're strongest. So they don't want them to be able to get to that mid-game stage and have, like, all their items and levels and just group up and start pushing.
I wonder if MUFC, what will they play for lane this game? Is he just going to be playing a normal support? They ban out the Beastmaster, and also it should be mentioned TongFu is on the Dire side this game, so they're going to have that Roshan advantage going their way. And Beastmaster obviously going to be crucial for that if he was available. He gets banned out. Inner Beast are a very annoying combo. That makes the bear gets really buffed at that point. You've got the cleave from Empower, you've got the Inner Beast Aura, and you've just got the natural tankiness of it to begin with. One thing MUFC really lacks right now is physical damage, and that's normally the best way to bring the bear down later on in the game.
Yeah, it is. Once again, Beastmaster's one of those heroes that's really good mid-game. The Hawk is always around you. You can always keep tabs on everyone's out, minimize how many deaths your team has, or just go aggressively with it and find space for mid-game. So they banned all these mid-centric heroes out. They're just going to kind of make a lot of space mid-game. And then all the carries seem to be getting banned out for TongFu here because there's no real carry yet on MUFC's lineup. Lone Druid, one of his weaknesses is Lifestealer. So that was actually a really good ban off by TongFu there.
Yeah, a Lifestealer can just charge in there, and unless you get entangled after raging, he's going to be able to just wail away on the hero or the bear and just bring it down very quickly, as well as being very hard to kill in his own right. And even force maybe an RP waste. They do go for the jungler in the end, so they're going to pick up the Chen here. That's going to give them more pressure in the mid game, and then it does make their laning stage rather weak. When they can't really put much pressure on TongFu. Tinker needs a lot of levels in farm before he can really get going. Darkseer, not really the best level 1 ganker. He can pressure his own lane, and I guess the Chen Dark is really going to be up to the Chen Rubik at this point, because if they're not finding kills, if they're not creating space, then there's nobody else who can do it until that 10 to 15 minute mark.
Could we see a mid Rubik here, maybe? It's possible if they still want a different support.
We could. They have offensive tri-lane, the Tinker, but that was on the Dire side, and again, that was with 2 very strong laning supports, so I guess it could be the safe lane Tinker, the solo mid Rubik, the off lane Darkseer, like you're suggesting, and then it would just beg the question, who's going to be that last hero?
Yeah, it's going to be a support, so if they're Weaver, that's weird.
It might. I want to say it might be an offensive tri-lane with the Weaver. I'm not
sure. Or with the Tinker still. And Weaver's actually a really, really great 1v1 hero when he has easy lane advantage. He can chase heroes down very easily on that easy lane. With the new base damage buff as well, it's very hard for him to lose a 1v1 matchup like that. So that's something else they could possibly do.
Yeah, actually, there was no way they would go aggressive because they're up against Shadow Demon, Lone Druid's tanky, and there's Keeper of the Light. So, yeah, it's maybe, I guess the Weaver versus, so it'd probably be Weaver versus Mag, or maybe Kodal in the off lane with Mag mid, I guess.
Ooh, Shadow Fiend. So that's kind of weird. Shadow Fiend, they're doing the dual carry again. Like, this is typical TongFu. They love their dual carry.
So then, Shadow Fiend, where is he going to be lane this game? Is he taking the safe lane? Is he going mid? And then maybe Lone Druid in the off lane?
I think Magnus is still going off lane here, and then Lone Druid and Shadow Fiend are either taking the mid or easy lane here. I don't know which way they're going to do it, but the Shadow Fiend pick, that is really interesting. I feel like they have way too much carry in this game. But I'm going to hop into the game now so we can figure out what they're planning to do here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and introduce the players on the side of TongFu. We do have Veronica on that Magnus, as mentioned, one of his signature heroes. They're going to chance it here. They're going to try to see if he can get away with that offlane. Remember, Skewer was significantly nerfed. And he'll have the Lone Druid Bear to help him, at least to start. But remember, Rubik can look to throw that up on a cliff if it ever gets into their own position. How? Going solo mid as the Lone Druid. So looking for that 1v1 matchup. Just trying to get that farm, but he is vulnerable to those smoke ganks as a mid here early on, very squishy. Long DD on the Keeper of the Light. Going to the safe lane, Moo on the Shadow Fiend. And possibly early Rid of Basilius to push this lane out. And then sansheng going to be playing the Shadow Demon. Or actually, I guess Tranquil Boots maybe to deal with the Darkseer.
He probably would get the Basilius, I would assume. You can also disassemble Basilius and make him into Tranquil Boots, but we'll see what it depends on how much harass he takes early, is what he'll decide to do, but it's most likely going to be Basilius so he can push the lane. But anyways, on the other side, we have Freedom's going to be playing the Darkseer. It looks like that's going to be an offlane Darkseer. They actually trapped the bear a little bit there, but he got out there. Mid lane, we're going to have Ohaiyo playing the Tinker, going solo mid versus the Lone Druid. That would be an interesting matchup. In the jungle, we're going to have Ling playing that Chen, Net on the Rubik, supporting Sharky playing the Weaver.
Sharky playing that safe lane carry. For MUFC, Sharky has really struggled as of late. he has not played well. He lost his safe lane Queen of Pain to a Windrunner the last time I saw him. And that was Yao's Windrunner, but it was an off-lane Windrunner. Just not really making the best decisions individually. Something he'll have to look to improve on. Top lane, though, they want a first blood on xfreedom. He's trapped against the wall. What a sick block.
Oh, man.
That was dirty.
Yeah, it was. That was perfectly placed.
It's something you just have to avoid is running next to the wall as the off lane. You got to make sure you stay towards the middle of the lane.
You can actually block them in with, like, if you have that many heroes there, and if you do it correctly, you can block them in with just heroes, even if they're not near the wall. So you always have to be careful going against a Shadow Demon as a solo.
Right.
First multiple heroes, so...
Here's the
anyways,
smoke
it worked out for them. Looks like they're going to sold the Weaver like I thought, but they're going to go on how here, get picked up here.
Yeah,
they get the clap off.
Oh, the clap was late, mistimed. And that would have been a kill. He's got laser and rockets already. That's a big blunder by them.
It's not the easiest thing to pull off, but that's not a mistake you can make as well at a professional level.
And remember, you know, this lone druid, he's weak at the early levels when it comes to surviving in the lane. He's got to stay very far back, and later on, once he hits 6, those kills are going to be much harder to come by. And as a solo mid, he's going to get 6 quickly, so a missed opportunity there. Hopefully for MUFC, they can make the next one count, because already xfreedom's under a lot of pressure top. He doesn't have a creep yet, and TongFu is just abusing the stacks, abusing the jungle. You're getting a lot of golden experience out of this.
Yeah, but they're going to get more here with the Ion Shell and the creep. They're going to take all these creeps.
They're going to try. Freedom.
Goes the blast.
Oh!
Oh!
He didn't see it. He gets sniped by long DD.
Oh, he should have knew that was coming. He got the chin creep and he got the Darkseer's life, so that's going to be a farmed coddle.
Some misfires from MUFC in this game 1. Just the missed gank mid and then giving up that kill, and then good play by TongFu, especially with that body block early on. MUFC not off to the best start here, and then as far as the farm goes, Shadow Fiend's getting free farm. Weaver's doing okay bottom, but Veronica's still getting the levels, which is mainly what he cares about. So I don't know that they're really dominating anything right now. And
another kill on Shen here.
Wow. Farming deep in the enemy jungle without the support Rubik there. It gets picked off.
Yeah, they need to... Their lineup is really meant for controlling early game, and they're down 3 kills now, so this is not where they wanted to be at all.
And as mentioned, you know, Darkseer, Tinker, Weaver, they're not going to be able to really fix this until later on in the game.
Luckily for them, right now TongFu is running a mid that has no real impact on mid or early game, so that's really going to be their opportunity to shine.
Yeah, thank God for them it's not a Night Stalker. Oh, top lane, yeah. Moo might drop here. He should drop, I think. And there you go, Test of Faith cleans him up. That was an important kill because Shadow Fiend already had 28 last hits, counting the denies there.
Yeah, so what's happening is a lot of teams, like, it's really hard to predict their lanes, but I figured they might throw the Weaver solo like this, but they actually decided to try lane with a Darkseer. This is something ldDOTA loves to do. And they're actually just putting the Ion Shell and the Chin creep. That's cute.
It is cute, but Keeper of the Light is here.
Yeah. Keeper of the Light doesn't like that shenanigan.
Yeah, he calls shenanigans and then he ends them.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of, like, I've noticed a lot of this tournament, there's a lot of dual roaming going on. ldDOTA loves doing it. LGD was doing it quite a bit as well, actually. They're roaming, you know, Zhao 8 Sven around. Yeah, so it's to be the new trend.
You're right. I mean, with LG, I think there's only really 2 teams that are doing a lot of jungle play. We used to see Chuan play a lot of Enchantress and occasionally Chen as well, but you know, IG hasn't done it as of late. LGD China, like you mentioned, they'll roam with their supports or even their tri-lane heroes. But top lane looking to go in on xfreedom. No, he'll be okay. No, but it's LGD and MUFC. Those are the 2 main teams, without knowing what Vici Gaming is going to do, that actually play the roaming junglers. But LGD were a lot more successful with theirs. They were nailing every single gank, and it's been a slower start here for MUFC.
Yeah, and there's just a couple missed calls here and there, little misplay. And the one thing that you have to be worried about is the Tinker right now is this Silverberry is dominating Tinker in CS right now.
Lane's getting surged away, dropping low. Trying to escape, he'll fall to the poison. Wow.
Oh, look at the Shadow Demon skill build. At level 3 he got 2 poison, and That does a lot of damage. Usually you go 1-1-1, but he decided to just go 1-0 and 2.
It's just like it's like a siege tank lineup. Like the Shadow Fiend's got pretty long range with the Sea Rays, Keeper of the Light Blast. We've seen that, and Poison. They can just do so much damage to you from far away. And you mentioned that you know at some point with this you can be cheesy with the Lone Druid Bear and the Mag to counter initiate if they try to go in on the bear. They have other heroes who can really punish you for getting in close in these supports.
Yeah, Shadow Demon is one of the best ones. He's like he punishes any type of misstep you may do within the game, which is what he does. If you get out of position, if you're over aggressive, that hero just destroys you for it.
So because
they're gonna get a DD on bot lane, that's gonna help him a lot. Maybe, possibly, if he's not paying attention on bot lane, he can get a kill.
Oh, Veronica, you'll notice, oh, here we go, doing a lot of damage, he skewers away, but it's not a max skewer yet, and one more chase, should be able to get this, I think. There's some bottle charges, dropping low, no!
Oh.
Just gets out of there, the killing blow was coming in, and he time-lapses to safety at the last moment.
Yeah, that was pretty... It was well timed. I won't say lucky, but it was close.
It was very, very close. The building's exploding, and you're on the 50th story, and you parachute out right as the floor collapses beneath you. That was how close that was.
And this mid lane, I still like. Ohio's gonna need a gank pretty soon here. I mean, he's not doing horrible, but Silver's free farming. He's got 23 denies and 31 last hits.
Also, he's blocking the pull here with the bear. This is really cute.
Oh, I see what he's trying to do there. He's just shooting March up there to pull the creeps. That'll help him catch up later on a lot.
Yeah, but the problem is the bear's there to block it.
Yep.
That's really really nice awareness and play by How. Denied. And xfreedom being slowed down in the top lane. The Ion Shell isn't really going to stop this push because Shadow Fiend and Keeper of the Light just instantly nuke down the creeps, so they're going to start losing towers top. They're not able to really find any momentum from the jungle. And Ohaiyo, the Boots of Travel are being delayed because he's not farming that well. Only 20 CS, the early failed gank mid, not shutting down How. This is looking like a very bad start for MUFC.
Yeah, they need this good start on the Syllabary. He needs to get whatever item he's going to go for. Since he's a Chinese player, I'm assuming he's going for Radiance because that's what they usually do.
Oh, you.
Maybe, but maybe else. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll go for a Maelstrom build into a Assault Cuirass for the early push. Who knows?
I kind of prefer that build if you want to push relatively early, because you know the Maelstrom gives you some decent push and farming power, but you get your Assault Cuirass out faster because the Maelstrom's a lot cheaper, and not gonna be able to get the ledge lift here on sansheng, so he'll walk away. Yeah, I think getting that Assault Cuirass a little bit sooner really does help accelerate the push, more than the Radiance.
Yeah, it really does. Big item that they need on this lineup is they're gonna need a pipe. I feel like they really need a pipe on TongFu side so they can get these pushes. Playing against a Coddle, playing against a Tinker, two most notable heroes that you need a pipe to breach high ground with. But I don't know what hero's going to get a pipe on this lineup.
Well, they have Coddle and they have Mag, so maybe the Mag goes for one, the Coddle goes for the other. But you really do kind of need a blink on that Mag at some point. He's your main teamfight initiator.
Yeah, this is a problem with running dual carry. You have these problems with utility items.
I wonder if maybe they'll just get they may just do so much jungle stacking that the Shadow Demon and the Keeper of the Light will farm both of them. But it will delay the push a bit.
Or maybe they just don't care about pushing at all since they just picked that Shadow Demon and they're just going to go super late. Because they definitely have the super late as well.
They have the momentum now too. So I feel like they just have their choices. You know, they could be aggressive now because the Mag already level 8. They've got a Shadow Fiend is he max souls yet? He's 28 because he doesn't have max Necromaster yet. Basically a Shadow Fiend who's going to be hitting like a truck, and then a Lone Druid who's going to be hitting pretty hard soon. If they want to get aggressive now, they have a very scary group up. There's only level 2 March. There's only level 2 Rocket. Ohio's not really that scary. And even Chen, not level 6, so MUFC, they would have trouble fighting now, and then if it goes later, can they fight later? It's going to come down to some really amazing Tinker play.
Yeah, and Sharky's pretty much dominating this bot lane now. Magnus already died once, he doesn't have his Arcanes up, so that Blink or whatever item he decides to go for is going to be pretty late. Weaver received some nice buffs. He got 5 base damage buff, and his Sakuchi does like, I think 30 more damage or something at max rank. So his laning stage has increased quite a bit because of that, and it's really showing in this matchup right now.
Yeah, it's the buffs to Sakuchi, like you mentioned. It makes him a little bit stronger in the lane, and he's gonna... I wonder if we'll see him rush the Relic. We've often seen Sharky... a lot of the SE players, they really like getting the Lincolns first and then going back, but this game, I feel like maybe he needs to rush that Radiance. They don't have that many stuns, that's the other thing.
It depends on how you want to play it. A lot of players, what they like to do is they get a medallion on Weaver and then go into Desolator, which against heroes like Silver, it's not a bad option at all. Medallion is one of the best items you can get against the Silver when he's sieging your base. The bear is going to take a lot of damage from towers, and if you just right click it, it's going to hurt a lot. And the way Desolator works is the first hit, it's whatchamacallit, it does the minus armor on the first hit, but you still get your normal attack after. So even if it is an orb effect, it's supposed to be Germinate attack is an orb, but it still works.
Yeah, it does on the non-Geminate procs. It doesn't matter anyway. It's a strong build, and versus the bear, they lack physical damage, but you know, I do expect, just based on what I've seen on Sharky in the past, that he'll probably favor the Lincoln Sphere. But we'll see. We'll see. The Lincoln Sphere or the Radiance. Either way, though, the boots have traveled up in Ohio, and that, for the moment, is going to slow down the pushing. The Ancients have been warded off. There's a double stack here, but he hasn't been able to just free farm these Ancient stacks, and they haven't dewarded it either. So slowing down the Tinker a little bit.
And Hal is going for the Relic for sure. Almost certain of it. Or else he would have got Gloves of Haste or something up on his bear by now.
Yeah, up to 2,700 gold, and it's going to be a pretty fast Relic time, especially because he's the solo mid-laner, and you weren't devoting a safe lane to him, so considering that, he's going to be very happy with how fast he's farming.
And the big problem I have right now for MUFC is when you have these lineups when you're trying to get a lot out of Chen, and you go aggressive like this, he's only level 5. The mech is nowhere in sight right now, it's pretty far away. And the Hand of God's not even up by 12 minutes. They want to be taking towers right now. This is their window of opportunity to be getting buildings, but they need that Hand of God for it, and maybe even level 7 so he gets one more creep.
That's the thing about MUFC. They don't play the Chen like... I mean, like, for example, like your team does, where, you know, Melk is often just farming until he gets those core items up. They're much more aggressive with their junglers, and if it doesn't work out early, then you come to the mid-game, and like you said, he doesn't have the items or levels that you'd expect out of that jungle Chen, so it really limits their options right now. They can't really get aggressive against TongFu. That means free farm for a lot of heroes that you don't want to be getting it.
Yeah, if you're going to play super aggressive with it, the only reason why we don't like playing too aggressive with Chen is because if it doesn't work out, the hero it becomes pretty, not useless, but he loses his edge as a hero, in my opinion. Like, if he doesn't have the early levels and mech, then he just falls off as a hero. So it's a pretty sticky situation for MUFC right now to see how they can just... It comes down to this Tinker, like you said. He needs to create a lot of space mid-game. He has the bots now. Pretty good timing, actually.
Yeah, well, his farm wasn't that great in the mid lane, but it's decent, and he didn't, you know, wasn't giving up a bunch of kills or anything like that. Ohaiyo, he normally likes to rush for the Blink Dagger. He goes for that more aggressive split pushing build. We don't normally see the Force Staff out of him. And then usually straight into the Hex after that. So let's see what he goes for this game. But that's what I expect from Ohaiyo.
His farm is decent in the mid lane, but the main problem is the Lone Druids is much better. He has 40 denies. Holy crap.
Tinker's been out of the lane for a while, so he's almost denied an empty lane, but actually not, because xfreedom's been sitting here. But
yeah, well, not MUFC. TongFu really loves their denies. Shadowfiend's 50.
Yeah, they have 90 denies between those two. That's rather insane.
Indeed.
So, Weaver,
Look
good
at this
farm.
jungle stacking and farming by the supports now.
Yeah.
Get their levels up.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking is, you know, if they need the pipe of the mech, maybe it'll be the Shadow Demon and the Keeper of the Light who do it. Mech,
Otto has mech already.
Mech out on him. They're really good at farming that quickly.
Yeah, he's level 9 with a mech at 14 minutes. Compare that to Chen right now. Chen's 6. He's getting close to his mech, but he's getting out farmed here, and that's a Coddle versus Chen. They both farm really fast, so a little ahead on the sports here.
Yeah, Coddle wasn't given a lane though. He was also bullying the Darkseer out of the lane. We saw him participate in fights earlier, when he was fighting, he was also farming, so he was very efficient with his Illuminates, stealing creeps. We saw killing off xfreedom there earlier.
And here comes the push for his blasts. They should be able to get this tier 1 though.
Yeah, it's gonna take more than one blast to bring them down. They might... Link's gonna micro the crease back, not using the Hand of God just yet. Top lane, Shadow Fiend, getting aggressive. Rushing the BKB, if that was an MUFC Shadow Fiend, if that was Ohaiyo played it, he'd probably rush the Shadow Blade, but this is TongFu. They're going to play a much safer style, and the good news for MUFC, the Relic is out on Weaver, and Sharky is going to pick it up right now, I think. No, maybe not.
The Relic's already on the Bear, too, so that's pretty much equal timing as far as when the Radiance may come out.
Yeah, and this was their safe lane.
Yeah. But, like, the mids, they're still really farmed on Tinker, too. His bots are up. He's up to 900 gold. Like you said, he's probably going to go for that Hex now. Maybe he might go for, like, a Blink Dagger build so he can push the lanes out. I don't know. I haven't seen him play Tinker too much.
Yeah, he likes the Blink Dagger first. Then we'll probably see him go for Hex. And especially in this game, where, like you said, he needs to create a lot of pressure.
Yeah. You just can't kill a Tinker with a Blink Dagger, really. He just blinks in the tree, spam rockets on every lane, blinks to another set of trees, TP's up.
Especially not this TongFu lineup. Like, they've got some ways to scout him with the Shadow Poison, but then it's a matter of actually killing him. And to stop his TPs, to actually shut him down, there's not really a whole lot. It's mainly just your RP and your Disruption, which you're not going to be able to reliably use on that Tinker when he's in the tree line.
It seems that MUFC has managed to stop the bleeding as far as gold and XP go, but it's still quite in favor of TongFu right now.
Yeah, it's stabilized. They're not falling that much farther behind, but they're also not creating that much pressure. And, you know, they push the one tower bottom, but Mag's still farming here. They get the tower, but they don't stop him from farming. And the middle lane, long DD, continue to push this out. They're getting farm everywhere. Is it worth trading? I guess they don't have another option right now. This is the issue with their lineup. Their real opportunity for pressure was Tinker once he gets his items up a little bit later on, and it's, you know, the Chen and the Rubik in the laning stage, but we saw the early ganks failing, we saw Chen getting killed, we saw some sloppy positioning from Darkseer, and they just haven't been able to push the initiative at all since then.
At this point, there's nothing they can do as far as... If they want to take a fight and group up as 5 by any tower, they're not going to win that fight. Shadow Fiend has a BKB, so they can't really go on him. They don't have any real stun to stop the Shadow Fiend, except unless they get an early telekinesis on him, but the stun in the lineup that MUFC has is almost non-existent unless Chen gets some creeps that do some stunning.
And the way this is going, it's not too far off of Long DD getting the pipe, if he's the one who wants to build it. Already up to 1,400 gold. Mu, like you mentioned, has the Blink, or the BKB. Now we could see him go for probably that Manta style. If you want to siege, a really good item to have, just giving you a little bit of extra damage towards the towers. You know at some point TongFu's going to look towards Roche. They've got the map positioning pretty decent here. There's not a whole lot of vision for MUFC. And they don't really have a great map controller like a Nightstalker. We saw so much of Nightstalker, Beastmaster, Panda, all these heroes from LGD China and DK who can control the map, who can have a gem, and look to try and limit wards, but nobody has that on MUFC. They just don't have the hero who can do it.
Yeah. What did SF use his BKB on? He's down to 9 seconds on it. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Huh.
Maybe it was a misclick, because he wasn't really being
BKB.
pressured.
Yeah, that 10-second BKB is really important in the first engagement. That's when Shadow Fiend's like the god of mid-game when you rush a BKB. 10-second BKB, max souls. Like, it's hard to compete with that hero at like 16 minutes when he has a BKB, but they're going to go for an early Roche regardless here. The Radiance is up on the Bear, the BKB is up, the Mech's up. He picks up a Vitality booster on the Coddle, so this support Coddle is becoming very difficult to kill.
And another 1,100 gold, so he's accrued like another 700 since I last clicked on him. He is running his own personal bank, and now the push timing comes mid. They're going to start sieging these tier 1s. For MUFC, how do they stop this push? They've got March. There is no pipe up yet, but with the Aegis, Mu doesn't care. Oh, well. He's got to hit his raises to push. That is step 1.
Warning raise.
Does Shadow Fiend feel different to you in Dota 2? I feel like his pathing's kind of odd compared to Dota 1. I don't know if that's just me. Oh, bottom lane. Veronica getting picked off. That's a decent kill, but they're still under pressure here mid.
Look how close he was to his Blink Dagger. That's just being greedy. I just need a few more creeps for my Blink Dagger.
I guess that's why. That's an important kill, though. Oh, this... I don't know.
Freedom, right?
Disrupted as he tries to surge away, taking a lot of damage. Now brought down by the Illuminate. Mu thinking maybe about a Requiem, but not going to find the opening, and now Hao is going to eat his way out of here, but Sharky picks up the counter kill. Sharky now looking to come back into Mu. Mu's getting chain stun. Mu's getting brought down, and can they bring him down a second time? I don't think so. Ling thought about it.
BKB Requiem on Chen creeps. That was interesting.
That was the mag not being there. That really cost TongFu. Like,
yeah, Mu didn't have to die there either. He decided to pop his BKB and Requiem Chen creeps for no reason.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But yeah, still, Mag not being there, when he has his Blink Dagger, these team fights are going to be completely different. I don't like the fact that I'm seeing TongFu playing more aggressive right now. Like, the pressure right now is on MUFC to do something. It's not on TongFu. TongFu doesn't need to make a move. They can just sit here and farm for, 10, 15 more minutes, and then there's nothing MUFC is going to be able to do about that. They're going to get all their core items up. They're going to get a pipe up if they want, or a hex, or whatever the Coddle wants to get, because he's one rich guy. Then they're going to get their items up on Shadow Fiend. He's already building Life Leech, which is a good way to deal with Martian Machines. You can just Life Leech in the team fights and not worry about that damage so much. And then they're going to have Magnus with Empower. That's just going to make them all stronger late game.
It's going to be a terrifying death ball. And I guess we see now where Gandalf got all the money for those fireworks, as he's just farming jungle creeps with Illuminate all game long. He's getting rich. He's going to have the pipe soon. I think he'll go for it. I don't think we're going to see TongFu skip a pipe, which is something that ldDOTA did for a long time in one of their matches where they ran a really aggressive pushing lineup. And once that pipe comes up, it's going to be go time.
I want to see a lot of Atos. We've already got the Vitality booster. Let's see it. It got buffed quite a bit. It's not a bad item at all anymore. Gives you more HP, the cast range is ridiculous, and the cooldown's pretty... But I definitely think a pipe would be a much better item, but...
Yeah, you're up against Tinker, you're up against Rubik, you probably want a pipe, but, a Rod of Atos, maybe a luxury item for ldDOTA a bit later on.
It's not even that good here, honestly, against Darkseer and Weaver.
You just want to see it. It doesn't matter if it's good or not.
See it.
Sharky's running into them. Okay, he's going to back off wisely at that. And slowing down the push here for the moment. I'm with you. For TongFu, I thought it was completely fine. Just take that tier 1 and then back off mid. They could have gotten that for free, but they forced the issue, and they're trying to force the issue again. I'm not sure what this urgency is. It's like they just think they're going to get outplayed in the mid game or something by the Tinker, and they really should be able to just sit back, farm up the pipe, and then go to push. But with the Aegis being down, I guess they're not feeling as confident.
Yeah, Weaver's one of those carries that pretty much really good mid game, pretty good early game, pretty good mid game, but super late game. He doesn't do the greatest amount of damage. He does quite a bit, but against their lineup, it shouldn't be a problem at all. So what I really just don't like them seeing being too aggressive, especially against this Tinker. Look at this. This is so obnoxious.
Yeah,
it's blinking in the trees. What do you do against that?
You have heroes. You have a Night Stalker with an Aghanims, and a gem, but they don't have one. So. He's gonna be.
We're gonna go for the split push here, hoping Tinker can solo defend, because that's what Tinker does.
Yeah, and they've kept decent wards up, so it makes it a little bit safer for heroes to farm that middle lane, even with the tier 1 being down. And TongFu, they don't have the best lineup to punish the fact that they've gotten these towers down. Like, they don't have the heroes that are just going to come and instantly gank you out. So as a result, Shadowblade, Mu went back for one.
Yeah.
Getting a map control item up, this is going to allow them to maybe punish the Tinker if he gets out of position, or any hero that's caught pushing on their own.
He's never going to catch the Tinker, though. Never, ever gonna touch Tinker pushing the lanes, because he has a Blink Dagger. All he's doing is blinking into trees. You're not gonna get a Requiem off of someone in the trees and kill him. So, I actually don't think I agree too much with the Shadow Blade. I think they should just go for either a Manta or a Butterfly, get some damage, and that's why when they go super late game, he'll be decked out. But they might give up a tower here on top lane.
It's like they're changing their game plan, going back for the Shadow Blade, starting to go for smoke ganks. The game plan seemed pretty clear in the early stages. Just find those early kills. If you can, get the early items up and play defensively. Now, ldDOTA gets caught, but he's not an easy kill. I don't know if they really want to fight him. And comes the mag. Well, wherever that RP be, all eyes on Veronica, but not finding it just yet. Shadow Blade and Mu up as well. Tinker lasering the bear and then running away, and in a headlong retreat at this point. Veronica surges in with that skewer, but not able to actually find anything. The Chen creep's getting massacred. Now Weaver on the sideline, so nobody really finding the openings just yet. ldDOTA dropped pretty low, up to 2,400 gold. And if he wants that pipe, the hood is out. The pipe is not far off.
The good thing about the Weaver pick is he's not easy to kill with TongFu's lineup. The only one way they have to deal with him is the mana leak. the rest of the spells they have no real lockdown other than RP. So unless they want to solo RP the Weaver, because I doubt he'll be near his team, he's going to be very hard to kill in these team fights.
Oh, Ohaiyo, you cheeky little bugger. He's going for the Dagon. I saw him do this before, but it was not in a game like this. It was a much more, it felt like more of MUFC's game. So he's going for burst damage, going just to try and assassinate heroes, and also you can Ethereal Blade that bear and just be very annoying later on, but yeah, the Dagon build.
Who can he assassinate? Shadow Demon, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, like you're not killing the Keeper of the Light. You're not killing anyone else, for sure.
Yeah.
A late game Ethereal Blade Dagon 5 Tinker is terrifying, but that's a lot more farm than he has right now. So let's see, what does he go for? Does he go back for a Hex? Does he go for Dagon upgrades? He did before.
Oh, long DD's in some trouble mid here.
Yeah, this is a big dive. They're finding the picks. And that's going to delay the push every time they get those kills. That was a big dive, but that's the one thing for TongFu. They don't have heroes that can easily punish that. Like you said, are you going to RP just that Weaver? And then you have to have the backup damage to kill him, which they didn't in that case.
Feels like TongFu is starting to fall apart a little bit right now. They're getting picked off here and there and losing some towers, which they shouldn't be losing.
It's the question. It's the question with this team. Do they have that late game, that mid to late game decision making, that leadership? Sure, they've got the skill. They understand what most teams look to do. Their drafting's pretty solid, but that doesn't win you championships. You got to have that decision making.
Yeah, tower trade going on here.
Yeah, tower's gonna drop. There's no deny, but he doesn't finish it. Sansheng, Ohaiyo blinks forward. Is gonna assassinate him, but gets caught by the RP. Gets caught by a lot of chains. That RP stolen. What a hero Net is. Stealing that RP, at least trying to turn the fight around. Net will drop though. That's a pretty big play to steal that RP. In spite of it, Weaver gonna pick up another kill. 2 for 2 so far, and the RP down. I think that's something MUFC will be very happy with. As far as the tower goes, Chen killed it off. Not denied.
Another notable thing that happened in that team fight is, I do believe Ling had the gym, or one of them had the gym, and they just lost the gym. Rubik had the gym, and he lost in that team fight with his death there, which is going to hurt them as far as getting map control.
Was it denied? Because I don't see it on anyone's... Yeah, I guess it must have been denied.
But the gym definitely dropped from the Rubik.
The wards are really important. When you have a Tinker and a Weaver heroes that are going to be split pushing aggressively, you don't want to get caught by a smoke gank. You don't want the enemy team just to be sitting there. And, you know, even if he's blinking into trees, it's something where if they're smoked up towards that direction, already anticipating he's going to TP in, they can maybe pick him off. It's going to be very difficult and unlikely, but you never know. And then the Weaver, of course. Speaking of that Weaver, he's got an ultimate orb up. I wonder if it's going to be a late Lincoln Sphere or if he's thinking Manta style here.
Yeah, it's really impossible to say, but the Lincolns is not a bad choice at all, because the single targets that they do have on TongFu's lineup are ones that are going to hurt him a lot. They got the Disruption, and if, for example, the Bear isn't in the same fight, they'll get the Radiance effect and disable him a little bit too. It looks like he's not going to go on bottom. But the big thing is it'll block Mana Leak, and that's one problem Weaver will have this game. If he gets Mana Leaked, he is extremely easy to kill.
Do you know, does time-lapse remove Mana Leak or no?
I don't think it does. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm almost positive it doesn't. I know in Dota 1 it did not, but Dota 2 is completely different mechanics, but...
Yeah, that makes it a really strong counter to him then.
Yeah, it really is a very good counter. Even if you have to waste your time-lapse just to get a leak off you in the first place, that's already doing its job.
And Keeper of the Light, they're not going for the pipe. They're angling for more late game. He's got an ultimate orb up. Call it a Hex, and hey, that gives them the lockdown. They are lackey right now, but if you want to group up and push, this is not going to help you as much and also takes longer to farm.
They gave up on the group and push. They blew it in mid lane when they lost to Aegis and whatnot. They're going to go for Roshan again when they can, and then maybe they'll try pushing. But I just do assume that they're going to try getting a pick off first before they do anything and just keep farming.
By the way, Ohaiyo is leveling up the Dagon. Dagon 5 alert. We're on standby here. That's coming, but it's coming soon.
He did instantly kill Sansheng last fight.
That's it.
And then look who got vacuumed up on the high ground.
Freedom, though, gets skewered bad. I'll get sent back by Chen just in time. That would have been a devastating skewer because there were 4 heroes waiting there, but instead they're split pushing.
Yeah, he also cleared the trees there. It was like multi-purpose, so Sansheng could get out of there. He either got lifted up there by Rubik or vacuumed. I didn't really see which.
Yeah, they actually have 2 ways to be annoying with the cliffs. TongFu have 1. They do have skewer, and look at what Sharky's doing. MUFC, they're transitioning into a more aggressive split push game. Let's find out. Monolith, it looks like it was removed by the time lapse, but nonetheless, he's charging into the enemy base and gets RP'd. He'll die, but hey, he forced an RP out. He's not going to be happy about dying, but it is going to prevent TongFu from getting too aggressive now. Can they actually take Roche with the RP being down?
They
think they can.
I mean, they can take Roche. Well, they have a dead Weaver, so
yeah.
TongFu can take Roche. MUFC, on the other hand, RP is down, yeah, but they got a dead hero, so they're going to have to give Roche away.
And Pipe up on the... Wow, xfreedom had a really bad start in that top lane. Now he's got an ultimate orb up, a Pipe complete on him. And a Pipe is something they also want. They're up against a lot of nuke damage across the board from TongFu. This is going to make them more
physical too.
Yeah, they need more than this.
Both worlds.
But hey,
they have Assault Cuirass on the bear too, so they might go to push the tower.
It is a good pushing item, and here we go. He's going to recall someone into the fight, perhaps. Nope, Moo's already... yeah, he's going to recall Veronica here. Veronica RP down for 50 seconds, and without that Pipe, it gets hard to push. They're going for...
He's still there. Oh, he stole Illuminate. Good luck pushing. Not only is it an Illuminate, he stole it from Coddle when he had his ultimate up, which means for the duration he has the skill, he can cast it without having to stand there. Oh wow, where is Moo?
Moo just showed up out of nowhere in the middle of the fight. Shadow bladed in, goes for the pickoff. Now onto Net, trying to bring him down. 2 heroes dead, and now Ling running away. But I think he's dead to the Shadow Blade. Oh, Moo whiffs on the raise and doesn't just give chase there. I think could have killed him if he just ran up the hill. Good Chen micro to stop any further aggression, but the damage already done. And the big thing there, the fight started with assassinating Ohaiyo. That's one way to break past the march, is just to Shadow Blade in, pick him off, and the Dagon 5, or the Dagon 2, the Blink Dagger, are not going to help you when he's getting aggressive like that.
I actually didn't see that. He just died instantly, and it wasn't even from the ultimate.
I guess it was just the Shadow Blade auto attack.
There's that mana leak. Ooh, that hurts so much when you're Weaver.
Yeah, he's going to have to walk back to the fountain. He is going for Lincoln's, but after that one pick off, that Shadow Blade, if you get that pick, and then you find 1 or 2 more, you're going high ground, and despite not having a Pipe, we're seeing an alternative way to break through Tinker. MUFC, a sloppy and crucial mistake from them, and TongFu take a lane of Rex 32 minutes in.
And that's gonna give him a crap load of gold on all their heroes as well. Coddle has Hex now completed, if he wants to go grab that right now. How is up to 3,500 gold as well. And then what other big items are we gonna have? I'm assuming we're gonna... I don't know what Mag is gonna get. It looks like he's building... He's got a cloak. Maybe he's going for the Pipe. But at this stage of the game, the Pipe is okay, but it would have... The huge impact it would have made in this game was like 5-10 minutes ago. Still nice to have, though.
By the way, Moo's got a Hex, so that's going to allow him to just solo kill. He might even be able to solo kill the Weaver with this. Maybe not quite. Once the Lincoln's is up, it won't be possible, but...
No.
He can hunt these supports. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. Surprise.
Double Hex.
Double Hex, double kill.
Now, both supports down. It's going to be really difficult for them now. They notice they have no way of dealing with this Weaver. I love going Hex on Shadow Fiend, actually. It's a great alternative. They have the Syllabear doing most of the physical damage. And, you know, Shadow Demon, I don't know why I'm saying Demon, but Shadow Fiend does good right-click damage even with the Hex, because the Necromancer gives you a bunch of damage.
And the new Shadow Blade gives you extra attack speed, so it's not too bad as a DPS item either. It's not the most efficient, but, you know, with that crit... or with the plus damage as well, it adds up, and they also have Empower for even more physical damage, so... Oh.
Okay, Hao just suicided the bear. That's animal cruelty right there.
Oh, boy. The Dagon is good for that, if you're just going to run the bear into the entire enemy team towards their base. Yeah, he'll taser that one down. Don't tase me, bro.
He got bots on Moo now. With the Coddle keeping him in and out. They don't want any of the split push shenanigans as well. Okay. And they're not going to be able to split push with him with bots and Coddle recon. There's the Pipe. It is up.
Pipe's up. Dagon ain't going to do much here. And even if it goes through, it's not enough. A big wall might slow the push. That was a decent wall Catches a few heroes, but only delaying. The bear still brings it down. And then they back off, and with the wall down, round 2, they're looking for a second lane of Rex. And
They're gonna slow push this.
And I don't know if MUFC can fight.
The pipe was actually picked up by Hao. Veronica's like, it's gonna take me too long to this pipe, we need it now. And Hao had all that extra cash and just picked it up.
How does MUFC fight? They don't have a hero like Mag who can just jump in. Darkseer used his wall, but it didn't really even phase them. And without a Tinker Hex, there's just no good initiate for this team.
Yeah. He's deciding that his Dagon's up to 3 now. I was waiting to see if he had a great plan with this Dagon, but he needs that E-Blade or something pretty quick here. Yeah, maybe he's hoping for late game, but they're knocking on the door right now, only at 35 minutes.
Well, they had to be prepared for that Shadow Fiend coming in and setting up those kills. If you want to go late game, you can't make mistakes like that against this strong of a pushing lineup, and they did. And now, if they get to late game, it will be a miracle because they're just not going to stop pushing.
And then there goes the bots to top to stop the Tinker push, and then the recall back.
We've got a Tinker of our own, says TongFu. Well, close to one anyway. And here they go.
Yeah,
they breach high ground. Pipe is out. There's just no way to fight. There's nothing they can do. There's no wall. Hex on Dark xfreedom. And in a matter of seconds, he's down. Wow, did he ever drop quickly. And
he has no rebuy either.
Yeah, I don't know if it would really matter, to be honest. But he does have the wall back up. It could at least slow them going for a third lane of Rax. There's a Purge on the Weaver. He's dropping low. Killing Ray's not going to be there.
Both Hexes are on cooldown. No way they can get them.
But they get 2 lanes of Rax. They've got the pipe. And they've got map control. They've got a gem. They've got the Keeper of the Light and the bomb, which really does counter the split push a lot. And
he's going into assassinate mood. That's their only stun. He's just abusing the fact that once telekinesis is used, they can't do anything to him.
Yeah, there's no Hex because he went for the Dagon.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do to him. They just have 1 telekinesis, and that's their only stun right now. And when you're MUFC in this position, there's not much. They're gonna get a pick off here with the Weaver, but that's not really doesn't really mean much at this point of the game. They're down a bunch of Raxes. It's gonna be really hard for MUFC here. They have the worst late game, and they have no answer for the pushes on top of that. So, like, what do you do in this position? And plus, the split push doesn't work because they have the Coddle and the bots.
Credit TongFu, they made smart item decisions, getting the Boots of Travel up. They had a smart laning phase, you know, figuring out a way to get that Lone Druid 1v1 matchup mid where he could still get a lot of farm, doing things like blocking the Ancients so Tinker couldn't stack them, and then warding them later on. Shadow Fiend had a good start, went for the Shadow Blade, which, you know, is an item that cannot be... If you don't find kills with it, it's not a great pushing item, but he found those kills, that opened the door, and then they kicked it in the rest of the way. And now engagement begins towards the secret shop. Sansheng getting thrown up in the air. Weaver in the back lines trying to pick off Long DD, but he's very, very tanky. Very hard to kill. Nice vacuum. Ohaiyo blinks in, but RP on a couple. Where's the follow-up? The Requiem wasn't used in combination with the RP. It was off to the side. Still, they're chasing Weaver. They do have a gem. On one of these heroes, yeah, it's on Hao, and the chase continues. The bear trying to run down this bug, wants to squish it beneath its claws. Can it do it? First hit, entangle, and then Veronica, or not Veronica, Sharky is going to run the other way, but he's only running away. He's not killing heroes. It's still trouble for MUFC, even though they had a decent fight.
At this stage of the game for MUFC, it's like they have really no way to come back from this, I have to say. Like, you think about split pushing, maybe we can do that, but they can't even do that. Late game, they lose, quite honestly. Magnus, Shadow Fiend, it's just a better late game on TongFu all around, so late game is not an option for them as well. Pushing, not an option, because they're underfarmed. So they just have to sit in their base and try to turtle, and that's going to be really hard as well, playing against an Assault Kuros and a Pipe, and a Lone Druid Demolish, so they have to find some kills outside of their base.
They do have Glyph back up, and Roshan respawning soon, so TongFu, if they want to wait for that third Rosh...
Oh, bot lane, there's a Hex.
There's a Hex, and there's an Ohaiyo. Oh, stops to auto-attack a creep, then casually finishes the job, almost taunting him there. And he's got a Mask of Madness and a Crystallis. A cocky build, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, they feel the same way that we feel. Like, this game, there's no way they can lose it.
And when your Tinker's getting assassinated by a Shadow Fiend, that's a really bad sign.
It really is. I think they're just gonna go like, okay, stop messing around now. Let's go ahead and push top. Shadow Fiend might get recalled up there, or he'll wait 18 seconds for his bots.
Yeah.
And with that Tinker being down, he actually has he has a pretty fast respawn timer, actually. Because he's not that high level. It's only level 14.
It's a small victory, but not really one they're going to be satisfied with.
Well, they need him to defend, so...
He did nothing in the last fight. They just fully tanked that.
Yeah, they have the pipe. They can do that. Basically, what I'm expecting them just to run and take racks with no real contention. Maybe the wall's waste. Okay, they're going to wait for that, then... We're probably going to see the end of this game. There's a BKB from the mid lane. Moo is just...
Backstabbing! Here he comes! Freight Train on the move! And only gets the 1 kill, but hey, gets the Rubik, backs out. And now back to the siege. So a brief commercial break there for Moo, just to entertain the viewers.
Yeah, like... And we thought...
Is it time for round 2? He's going back around. Oh man. I'm just gonna leave my camera on Moo. Here he comes, up the middle lane, there's no sentry. Ling's running into him. Ling's got a gem, so Ling does see him. Doesn't matter though, he's
come from the side, because it distracts him not to go on the bear here.
Yeah, the bear gets lasered, doesn't have an MKB yet. And in spite of that, the tower falls.
Moo's going in again. He's just the most confident guy in the world right now.
Why not? BKB out. Now onto the Chen. Mech's up, trying to live. Not able to live. Moo's on a rampage. Moo is out of control. Moo is like Godzilla unleashed upon the great cities of the world. Just absolutely demolishing everything in his path. That was an epic...
into the well.
Epic vacuum. But they still lose 3 lanes of racks. They will tap out. We're headed to a game number 2 with TongFu comfortably leading the series 1-0.
Yeah, they couldn't get enough done early game in MUFC. They had a lineup where they had to take map control because the TongFu lineup was just way too strong late game, and it was way too good when they grouped up, and they weren't able to do that, and painful result.
A little bit of swagger there from TongFu at the end. They're normally a very go about your business kind of quietly sort of team, but that game we saw a little something else from the Shadow Fiend play, a little bit more swagger to them, and hey, it can work to your advantage. Get inside the heads of your opponents, maybe intimidate them a little bit going into game 2. MUFC, they looked... That one, it goes back to the early failed smoke gank, then the kill top lane, the laning phase. They wanted to find those early roaming ganks, and the Chen didn't have an early mech, didn't have the early levels. They didn't get any sort of push going. Tinker got out farmed. They really didn't have anything going their way that game.
No, it was a pretty one-sided game overall.
Well, guys, that wraps it up for game number 1. This is a best out of 3. We'll come back with game 2 soon. Remember, IG is in this group. The last team won't advance, so a very important matchup for these teams. Possibly jockeying for 2nd or 3rd place, depending on how strong Vici Gaming turns out to be. The pub stars yet to be seen. We'll get a sneak peek at them later today. But for now, that wraps up for game 1. Game 2 coming soon. I'm LD. He's Fear. We'll be back in a few.